Hey, hey, hey. Actually excited how much people actually turned up. Like, thank you very much. I'm Yarashuk. I'm security auditor at Consensys DiIligence. Basically, I do audits, I do different ZK-related stuff, and also I do different blog posts. I have a Telegram channel about Web3 security, and today's topic would be incident response. So I have, I would say, quite unique experience in terms of, firstly, I was a Solidity developer who been on the side of being exploited. And not not one time, but actually 2 times. But I wouldn't say this wasn't my mistake at this point. This was wrong management of the smart contracts, but overall, it's not the topic. Today, the topic would be how actually it looks from the protocol side of view when you get exploited. And that's quite funny, I think so, because if the protocol is getting exploited, usually the first people who notice it would be the end user. Why? Because the end user have tokens inside the protocol. So if the token is going to 0, you probably want to ask the protocol why it's going on, what's going on. And that's kind of an example what usually happens. And the person who will get a notification in that case would be basically chat Telegram support group, not the person who should be receiving a notification. The second case would be it would be just a pack shield alert or somebody who will be kind of saying, hey guys, you're being exploited, you might have a look. And also on this side, there would be a marketing person looking at it. And in these both cases, not anyone from the protocol team would actually have a look. And I think this is mainly the reason why the protocols are not managing the exploits in a very fast way. So it takes lots of time for the protocol to get a mitigation. And yeah, obviously the third point would be monitoring tool alert. It's not really hard to do it anymore, but unfortunately it's not really widespread. So as we know, let's see the hypothetical scenario. The team is already notified, right? And what we can do next. So most probably, there would be a management call. Management will notify, like, look at it, and then they will see that they will give a task to the developer team. Let's figure it out. The situation is very stressful. They need some extra data to basically understand what's going on. And in the meantime, they will jump on call and start basically preparing to get mitigation. Third step would be when the devs, after some time, actually understands what is the reason, what is the root cause of the exploit, and can have some extra output to the management team. And the fourth step, it's usually not the last one, but in my case, would be contracts get paused. But usually the protocol can have different problems, like it could be not stoppable. There is no post modification, or the storage is already broken, so it's not really always helps the protocol. And as you can see, there's lots of steps, and the thing is that people usually makes mistakes during having a lot of steps, doing lots of steps under the stress. So you can see there is a QR code, and this is one of the basically articles I did about PenPy exploit. I liked in this case study that it shows a lot how people can make a mistake, and it would be quite silly one, and it will cost really a lot. So the exploit started at 6:23. It was just PenPy protocol on Ethereum. And at 6:45, 22 minutes later, Pandal, not PenPy, but basically different protocols, paused their contracts because they could, because they were also losing money because of the exploit. 51 minutes later, after the first exploit, attacker stole additional $600,000 from the Arbitrum chain. Why? Because Pandal haven't actually thought about this case, and PanPy is still not responding. And only 56 minutes later, Pandal fully posts its Arbitrum platform, and 75 minutes later, PanPy posts its protocol. So as you see from the previous slide, there are lots of steps usually. I would say that having 20-minute time response is pretty good based on the current, I would say, standards or situations, but still. So people tend to make mistakes, and in this case, there was more than $500,000 lost, and we need to have some plan before the exploit, right? We need to have some monitoring tool. We need to fire alerts or something. So the topic of this call, the topic of the speech would be basically to find out why we need to prepare for the war room. First one would be, what do you want to see in the war room? You want to see right people there. There would be people who can interpret the data. There shouldn't be some people. You probably don't want to see their marketing team or Telegram chat support group. You want to see all the accurate information. This also, especially from my experience, is not happening all the time. If the protocol have current deployment, for example, like V2, they have, for example, in the best scenario, a list of the all smart contracts for this V2 contract. But usually, if the exploits happens, it can affect all the versions. So are you sure you know all of the deployments on V1, V2, on 20 chains? Probably not. So you need to have accurate information, straightforward visuals. It's more about the simulation, different tracing tools like Tenderly or so on. Clear communication. You need to set up a place where you can have a call with your team. So basically, it's the best approach to have a call, not this Telegram group. Skill meeting leader. There should be a person who would be managing all of the response, I would say. And sense of urgency. It's very important to make it as fast as possible. Because if you do it fast, you can minimize the risk or basically even stop it. How the war room actually starts. So runs. You should design the invariants first of your protocol, right? After that, you assemble runbooks for common cases. For example, if my protocol have upgradability pattern, I can get compromised from the deployment address, right? So then I need to prepare for that. So if you have, for example, a breach, likely you will have some mint problem, burning problem, or something. So the idea is to basically find the invariants and prepare for it for each case. Document the list who owns the roles. Document what addresses you're actually using in the protocol. What are your current deployments. Decides who will be on which side, so who would be on the war room. Set up monitoring for on-chain metrics and off-chain surfaces. Also, not really hard one. You can just have a check on the back end who will be monitoring the balance difference with every transaction in your protocol, with every block. And incident flow is quite straightforward. You classify incident and document what you know. Pull the right people into the war room and assign roles. Use monitoring, transactions, traces to gather data. Then pick action from the pre-approved list to make it as fast as possible. Tell users and other protocols what's happening, because usually, as for example from the previous case, not only you getting wrecked, most probably there would be another protocol who is also suffering. And keep updating log, because in the end there would be a finished postmortem for you. How can you prepare? I think that currently there was a lot of different cases which I really liked. Post functionality is basically the most basic one, but emergency implementation is something that I really like. For example, you have upgradable protocol, and if you see that something is going on and you don't want to have your story changed anymore, you just basically upgrade your protocol to the dummy implementation with no bytecode, and every transaction which will be going on after that, there would be no difference. Yes, of course, if you have DAO, if you don't have, if it's not possible for you to deploy it like that, it will not work, but in some cases, that's great. Contracts list, that's what I already told. You need to basically have to remember who is actually integrating you, who is working with you. And volume limits, also quite popular one. For example, in the Ronin bridge incident, there was an exploit of around 4,000 Ether, $12 million. And it was stopped by just a cap on the smart contracts. There was roughly $72 million stayed on the contract. The root cause, I would say, was quite not like really complex, but also the very basic step of having a cap prevented losing about $90 million. So if it would be $90 million, I would say probably Ronin would never survive after this exploit. But now it's just a bad day for your protocol. Assigning roles in your own war room. So this is overall how the war room structure should look like. You need several people who will be in charge. You need operations who will be initiating the war room, who will be like monitoring the chain, who will be basically saying, hey guys, we need basically to be on the war room right now because something bad is going on. You need a person who will be keeping the timeline and this decision logs. You need a strategy lead who will be deciding what action would you do next. You need a protocol lead who will know all of the protocol, who will basically be able to understand why the protocol is hacked. Web infrastructure lead. It's in Web3 not really common, but also sometimes the exploit could be mitigated from the front end. For example, you can stop the users from continuing to interact with the protocol by blocking the web. And external communicator, so I would say a person who will be able to reach all of the people in different Telegram groups, your integrators, and so on. Also important to note that maybe when the exploits happens all the time, you see some very interesting messages on the Etherscan about I want a bug bounty, I'm like a white hat, or like if it's Kyberswap exploiter, you will think about they will tell you a lot, but in the most cases, I would say negotiation is not your tool in this case, and every negotiation that you will start will basically spend your time first. And in the protocols, overall in the security, I think that, sorry, lost a little bit. So about negotiation, I would say if you want to actually negotiate, in 99% you will not gain something good from it. And if you actually will decide to do that, probably you have to involve legals before you do that. FAC security layers to the protocol, there would be probably first of them that you're not vibe coding the smart contract, you're just developing smart contract. Then you have internal review, security review, you have a bug bounty setup, and then if there is all of these steps of security layers are not protecting you from the exploit, there is a very last one, seal safe harbor. This is not very popular for some reason, but it's quite new also. You can have a legal framework for white hat which is a smart contract, predefined set of rules. You can sign it on the smart contract level. So if the exploiter, at some reason, will actually decide whether they want to proceed with the returning funds, I guess this is the best case for the protocol, to try sealed safe harbor. And final summary. I think it's almost impossible to basically have zero incidents in your protocol. But at the same time, you can easily minimize it. First of all, you can always contact us, and we can help you with doing the security audit. And because of that, most likely, you will have not a crazy exploit, and hopefully no exploit at all. I think that a must-have is to have a monitoring tool. With all the modern tools, it's not hard to do that. Then you have to implement a checklist and threat model. Just sit down and think about what attack vectors your protocol could have. And based on these attack vectors, think about how can I protect it? What would be my action in this case? And third, basically assign the roles. If you would have an exploit, you don't want people just screaming on each other. You want people that everything should be planned. That's how I see it. So by doing these steps, you will have not 50, 60, 80-minute response. In the best case, you will have a response time of hopefully, like 15 minutes, which will save you lots of money. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vlad. As a follow-up question to the presentation you just had, we have obviously developers, we have product managers. Would you recommend doing dry runs on test nets for the war room incidents? And if so, how often?
OK, that's an interesting question. Do you need to have a dry run? Yeah, I think it's a good idea to try them. But at the same time, honestly, just from my experience, I haven't heard that protocol doing it a lot. So that's something that which is interesting to me. And I think the reason for that is just obviously that the protocol, I think that I have described all the cases, how you can protect from it. I don't really understand what would be the dry run. So for example, you can connect seal in advance? Yes, I guess so. But at the same time, you can just prepare it on the chain. So I don't think it's really important to have basically to protect yourself on the testnet or something. Just having a plan most obviously would be the best case. If it's not a plan, but an execution of scripts, it's very hard to know what would be the exact exploit. So I not think that in most cases it would be relevant for the protocol.
OK, thank you very much. A wonderful presentation. A round of applause for Vlad.
Thank you.